Get ready to witness a courtroom moment that didn't just deliver justice. It delivered a lesson no one in that room would ever forget. This wasn't just another case on the docket. This was the day arrogance walked in and humility walked out. Because what happened inside that courtroom, involving a wealthy socialite and a young soldier, would leave everyone stunned, and would later be talked about as a perfect example of how fast disrespect can collapse under real authority. It began on an ordinary morning, but the moment Isabella Vance stepped inside, it was clear this would be anything but ordinary. If you lived in that city, you already knew her name: power, wealth, influence. Her family owned buildings that touched the skyline and connections that reached deep into politics. People like her didn't wait in lines. They didn't get told no. And more importantly, they weren't used to consequences. The charges? Battery and disorderly conduct. But this wasn't just about law. This was about something deeper, something far more uncomfortable, because the victim wasn't just anyone. It was a 24-year-old soldier, Sergeant Marcus Hayes, a man who had just returned from a 12-month deployment. A man who didn't walk into that restaurant looking for attention. He walked in carrying flowers, simple carnations. Because his mother worked there, washing dishes in the kitchen. He didn't arrive like a hero. He arrived like a son, wanting to surprise his mother and show her one thing. He made it back alive, but within minutes, everything changed. Surveillance footage revealed the truth. Marcus, tired and still in his dusty uniform, accidentally brushed past Isabella's chair. He stopped immediately. He apologized. He stepped back. That should have been the end. But for Isabella Vance, that was just the beginning. She stood up, demanded to know if he understood how expensive her coat was. Marcus calmly explained. He had just come from the airport and was looking for his mother. And then, she laughed, called his mother the help, told him he was contaminating the air, told him to leave before security removed him. The room in the footage grew tense, but Marcus stayed calm. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't react. He simply said he had served his country and had every right to bring flowers to his mother. That's when everything crossed the line. Isabella stepped closer, looked him directly in the eyes, and said his service meant nothing. Then, she spat in his face. The courtroom went silent as the footage ended. Because that moment wasn't just an insult. It was something far worse. Contempt. For service. For dignity. For humanity. And when the lights came back on, Isabella Vance wasn't remorseful. She was bored, checking her nails as if nothing had happened. When asked if she understood the seriousness of her actions, her response shocked the entire room. She said she did him a favor, that he looked like he needed a shower, that he was dirty, that he was just a soldier, even claiming soldiers were nothing more than government property. The tension in the courtroom became suffocating. Because now, this wasn't just about what she did, it was about what she believed. She mocked his mother's job. Said places like that restaurant were meant for people who contributed to the economy. In her world, people like Marcus existed to serve people like her, and that's when everything shifted. Because the judge had heard enough, calmly, but firmly, the truth was laid out. While she was worried about her coat, Marcus Hayes had spent a year in a place where survival wasn't guaranteed. The dirt on his uniform? It meant more than everything she was wearing combined. And his mother, working long hours, hands worn from labor, had contributed more to the dignity of that city than she ever had. But that wasn't the end, because something deeper came to light. This wasn't her first incident. There was a pattern. Valets, staff, workers, humiliation, followed by money to clean it up. This wasn't a bad day. This was a way of life. And then came the turning point. 6 months earlier, a similar incident in Colorado, a deferred agreement, one condition: no violent behavior for 12 months. She broke it. Right there, in that moment, everything changed. The decision was no longer difficult. 6 months in custody, maximum fine, and 500 hours of community service at a veterans hospital. Not paperwork, not desk duty, real work, cleaning floors, handling the harsh realities of injured bodies, facing the cost of service because money had taught her one thing, that everything could be fixed with a check. Now she had to learn something different. Some lessons must be lived. She returned, and this time, she was unrecognizable. No sunglasses, no lawyers, no attitude, just silence. She had completed every hour, worked, listened, helped veterans, read to those who couldn't see, stood beside people she once would have ignored. And then, she apologized. Not because she was told to, but because something had changed. Marcus Hayes looked at her quietly and said something that stayed with everyone in that room. The woman who spat on him had been lost, But the woman standing there now looked like she had found her way back. And that is the real power of justice. Not just punishment, transformation. Because Isabella Vance walked into that courtroom believing money could place her above decency. But she walked out learning something far more valuable. The one thing wealth can never buy is character.